You got the score award for stealing home. Holden! Among other things. Stealing home among other things. Holden!
Hey, now, like Liam, if there's 2 kids on the team, Liam being one, if there's any other kid on the team who's quick to console somebody else, you're the other kid on the team. Okay, you're always there. You're the life of the team. You are the personality on the team. Okay, if there's going to be a joke that's going to be played, it's going to be played by you. Okay, or told. So you are always ready to bring a smile to anybody's face, whether it's the crowd, whether it's your teammates. That you're always there to bring a smile to everybody's face, and I really appreciate that. So, and whenever there's a time to pray, your hand goes up first every single time. So, and that shows a lot about just your relationship with God and how you like to talk to Him too, like you like to talk to everybody else,
Including God.
Obviously, I'm partial here, but I've seen the improvement. The main thing that I've seen this year with Holden is I think he's maturing a little bit more. Just as one more year, because he was with a lot of these kids before, and I told him to, he's a little bit older, and so he needs to step up and help out when these kids are down and feeling bad and that they did something wrong or whatever it may be, and I think he's done that, and I'm proud of him for that.
Well, I agree with what Mike and Jeff said. You are the life of the party. Sometimes it's all you want to do is party. But that's okay too. You also are always willing to volunteer and lead the team in prayer, which is a wonderful trait. Every team, every organization, every family, every company needs somebody who lightens things up a little bit, especially when I'm around and make things so serious. And a little bit of levity is what we need every once in a while. And Holden, you bring that. Holden had the opportunity to play he was, going to play some first base and maybe some other positions and so forth. But then we sent him out to left field once, and he consistently backed up third base. Consistently. And I was so tired of telling everybody else to back up here, there, and everywhere else, that I said, you know what? You just bought yourself a position, Holden, because that's one less thing I have to do is tell the left fielder to back up third base. You did that extremely well, extremely consistently. We didn't have to and the ball came to you, and you got it, and you caught it, and you threw it back in, and you played a great left field, and that's why we kept sending you out there. You were always willing to do it. Holden also, after practice, and even as I recall, during practice, he said, "What do you need from me, Coach? What do you need from me?" He was always willing to help out, and everyone needs the type of help that Holden is willing to offer. But none of that is why he got his award. He got an award for, on a couple of occasions, he hit the ball very hard. He crushed the ball, and I remember one down the left field line. And I know he got a home run as well this year, and crushed the ball a couple of times hard, so he got the Crush Award. Lucas, where are you? Get over here. Face your accuser. Okay, I know you guys got your awards and your candy already, but got a couple more. Here we go. Lucas.
Okay. Now, Lucas, you wouldn't know this because you were always on the opposing team for us. But last year, and possibly the year before, when you got on the mound, our kids got really happy. Because they went, ooh, we can hit him. Okay? And last season they did hit you. This season, at the beginning of the year, you've got a great motion, but it was just soft. It was just poof, right in there. Your swing, beautiful swing, but it was a little slow. It just didn't seem to get through there. Now, I know in an email at some point I talked to either your mom or dad, but I said that you were by far the most improved player this year. Because by the end of the year, you weren't throwing little marshmallows up there anymore. You were throwing darts. Okay, and you no longer had that slow swing. You sped it up. So you had the nice mechanics, but now all of a sudden you had the bat speed on it where you were pounding it to the gaps. So by far, to me, you were the most improved player this year.
Yeah, I'd have to go pretty along with that too. From the beginning of the year to the end, it was just unbelievable. The hitting and pitching better. Played a lot of positions the same way that I know. You know, third base, shortstop, second, catcher. The catching was so valuable, you know, to have the catching, you know, because I know how these kids get tired, whether or not they think it or not. They get tired a couple innings behind the plate, then you have to go and pitch. It takes a lot out of them at this age. I seem to see that more. You'd like to do it the other way, have them pitch first and then catch, you know, you could, but vast improvement. They did a great job this year.
Obviously, extremely versatile, can play anywhere on the field, and can play all positions extremely well. Made some great plays at shortstop. You could have played first base if we didn't have Tyler over there. You played pitcher, you played catcher, you could have played anywhere on the field, like I say. And could have batted anywhere in the lineup. You could have batted first, you could have batted fourth, fifth. And you were very, very valuable, very coachable, usually willing to listen. No, always trying to be funny now. Always willing to listen, always hustling, never complained one bit at all. The beginning of the year, to talk about what Mike was saying, beginning of the year you struggled a little bit hitting. By the end of the year, you were absolutely crushing the ball. You were hitting the ball harder, more consistently than anybody else on our team, quite frankly, at the end of the year. One of the reasons was, and Mike talked about the bat head speed, and this is why we go over this stuff, guys, in practice. That's why we have 5 T's set up and everything else. Beginning of the year, now let's see, we haven't rehearsed this. Did we make an adjustment to your swing, change your swing a little bit near the end of the year? What was it? Watch the ball, that's important. Don't drop the bat head. What about your hands? What about your hands? Did we do something with your hands? We didn't? Okay, bring him in. So he had his hands at the beginning of the season out fairly far. And he was coming around the ball, what we call around the ball, which is a longer, slower swing. And you were supposed to say this so that it made you look good. Whatever, you forgot? And then near the end of the season, I kind of noticed and I said, you know, try your hands a little farther in. And then if you saw the last few games, the last 4 or 5 games, he actually started with his hands on his pec, on his pectoralis major, they're called, on his chest, and he literally was able to stay inside of the ball that way with his hands, and also generate bat head speed by doing that. And that's why at the end of the season he was literally hitting fly balls all the way to the fence, where he hadn't done that earlier in the season. He got a little bit of casting, was taking his right shoulder, going over that. But if he didn't do that and kept his hands in and kept his head down on the ball, he was crushing it. And at the end of the season, you had a hitting spree like nobody else. You got the spree award. I don't know where we get this stuff. Nobody got it all. Ethan! Ethan!
Wow.
Julie, only a couple more. Mike, Ethan.
At the beginning, well, first of all, I remember you from the fall ball. And doing some of the little drills with you during fall ball, and how you were always eager to do it, but you had never really played any baseball at all, and it was pretty obvious. And then you came out for our team, and at the beginning, you couldn't catch it at all. But at this point, you have a pretty darn reliable glove. Okay, that ball's thrown to you, you catch it almost every single time. You have greatly improved in tracking the ball, watching the ball. With your bat, you watch the ball probably better than just about anybody else on this team. Okay, a lot of the people may have slightly prettier swings than you, but you actually watch the ball all the way in every single time. So you have learned some of the things great there. So just great improvement too. If it wasn't for Lucas, you would be the most improved.
Yeah, I would say that he is vastly improved. Probably, I mean, for one person not playing at all, and because we've had kids before that haven't played before, and he's done a lot more than what anybody before that I've seen. Be able to not be afraid of the ball. Up batting, number one, was the biggest thing that I saw. You really improved on that, where he used to kind of back off and not. But then, by the end of the year, I mean, he's right up there swinging and hit. And he had at least 7 or 8 really well hit balls that he hit really hard. Then the other thing that you really improved on, which you need other improvements on, ground balls probably more than anything, but catching fly balls, because they used to hit you outfielders fly balls all the time. If it's close there and with him, he's going to glove it, like you said. So a lot better than a lot do. So a great improvement, like I said. I would say you are the most improved for yourself, as an individual, not playing any kind of baseball to where you're at this status. You should do well and just continue with the game, right?
Hey boys, I know you guys have already got your candy and your awards, but let's be respectful to your teammates and listen to what is being said about them as well, okay? So, Ethan, I think, personally, and we didn't vote on it because we weren't giving an award for most improved, but if I had to vote on a most improved player, it would be you. At the beginning, I know you, I think your dad was telling me that you played one disastrous season at a Parks and Rec type deal, and then you did a little bit of fall ball last year. When you came out, I never met you, you came out to our team this year. You hadn't played and you hadn't had that much experience, and a lot of the kids have played for several years, and I actually, Mike, I hope you don't mind me saying this, Thelma, I actually had recommended to, because at first glance, I had recommended that Ethan stay down at the 8U level because of his lack of experience, and I knew that the balls would get thrown and hit and everything faster, and quite frankly, I was a little concerned for his safety because I knew the ball was going to come fast and so forth. And this is, I guess, you know, coaching, you have highs and lows, and sometimes you say, why am I doing this? Sometimes you go, this is great. Mike says he doesn't want to leave your team. So that was a plus. And then, do you mind me telling about the end of the season, Mike?
What?
Near the end of the season, I'll abbreviate it.
Okay, I'll let you.
So near the end of the season, the playoffs, for whatever reason, there was a discussion as to whether Ethan was going to complete the season or play through the playoffs and so forth. And I really encouraged them to stick it out because Julie doesn't want to hear it. It's too long of a story. It's a good story, Julie, but it takes too much time. When I was 11, I wanted to quit something, and I didn't. And it, if you want to hear the story, the rest of the story, you can see me privately, but it served me well later in life that I was able to draw upon an experience when I was 11 years old of not quitting, that later in life I said, I've never quit anything before, so I'm not going to start quitting now. So Ethan stuck it out throughout the season, which I think was to his credit. And as Jeff said, I mean, at the beginning of the season, I had Mike take Ethan aside and throw a tennis ball to him from 5 feet away, because he needed to learn how to catch and to throw from 5 feet away. And from that to several months later, Jeff hitting fly balls from 150 feet away, and if it's in Ethan's range, Ethan will catch it. And all of you guys can learn something from Ethan about swinging the bat. Ethan didn't always hit the ball. You guys didn't always hit the ball either, but he never got cheated. He was swinging the bat.
Yes, he
Okay? He always swung the bat. And you can't hit the ball unless you swing the bat. So, Ethan, great job. You had an excellent attitude the whole season. You gave us great effort the whole season. So you got the Mr. Good part. Nico. Nico. Go for it. Mike.
Ow!
I don't know if you remember, but if I have one regret this season, it was maybe the second week of practice. Season hadn't started yet. And you were in the batting cage, or hitting off the tee. And I started getting on you about your effort at the time. And I pretty much just kept getting on you because at the time I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. And it got to a point where you got upset about it, you got angry about it, and I didn't know you, I didn't know your personality at the time, but kind of like Jack, I will bark at times, although I haven't had to bark much this season because he takes over just fine for that. But that is one of my bigger regrets, is just that I barked at you maybe just a little bit more than I should have. But you totally shrugged it off. Like the next game, you were like my best buddy, and so, I mean, you certainly don't hold a grudge. I love your hustle out there now. Out on the base paths, when you're out in the field, you're hustling. Okay, your legs are always moving. And so I appreciate that a lot. I didn't see the hustle that one time, but I've seen the hustle a whole lot since.
Yeah, Nico we've had for a few years, and you can kind of always count on him. He may have his ups and downs, but he will listen to you, and he makes an error on the one time he will come back and really surprise you on another play. He seems to get more focused that way, and he's like he says, he's always hustling. He runs hard on the base pass. Anytime he hits the ball, he's pretty much the one that I kind of can watch from home to first. Doesn't look at the ball, and with his speed, that makes him beat out a lot of hits. If he gets it over on the left, on the left-hand side more, because it's kind of harder the other, which we have trouble with. But I like it. He's always been good with hustling, and that's his main attribute, I think, is his main hustle in the game, and always tries hard. And like I said, kind of surprise you after he makes kind of a bad play on one side. He'll seem to come back and make a good play the next time. So good parts of him. Thank you.
So Nico, I've enjoyed coaching Nico for a couple of years now, and this year was no exception. Nico's got a great attitude. Nico's always willing to do anything you want him to do. Every once in a while, he gets a little down on himself, but then, as Mike said, he just bounces back after a few seconds, and he's out there hustling again. And it's natural to get down on yourself when you're trying to do something and try to accomplish something, and you're not able to do it. You get a little depressed. But the big deal is whether you can bounce back from that. Lucas, Jake, whether you can bounce back from that. Whether you can say, okay, I didn't achieve my goal just now, but I'm gonna try again, and I'm just gonna keep getting up off the mat. I'm gonna keep swinging. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna get up. I'm not gonna quit. I'm just gonna keep going after it. And that's what I think of when I think of Nico. Every time he's up the bat, I know he's gonna give it his all, and whether he succeeds or not, I know he's gonna give us all again the next time up. Defensively, again, he's another kid who's very versatile and could probably play a lot of different positions. Has made some great stops at second base, made some great plays at second base, not the least of which was the circus catch he made in our last game. Was it the playoff game? Where, against the Dodgers, where it wasn't textbook, but hey, he got the job done. Where it was like this, and it was kind of like over his head, and he reached back, and he was still able to make that catch, and that was a huge catch in that game, at that part of the game. So Nico has always been, Nico has always been a joy to coach, and I hope that he sticks with baseball. He's got great, your throwing motion is getting good. You've overcome a little bit of fear of the ball. At the beginning of the season, you were kind of backing away from the ball when you caught it. Now I haven't seen that in a long, long time. I think you're moving toward the ball, and you've made tremendous progress this year. And for your excellent play at second base, you received the Hot Tamales Award. Kenny! You thought we forgot about you? No way, dude. All right, your dad wants to say something about you. Get out of here.
All right. Well, you probably wouldn't know this, but every single teacher Kenny has had, from kindergarten on, has all said what an absolutely wonderful lawyer he is going to make someday.
I've saved that also, by the way.
If there is a rule to be enforced, he knows exactly how to enforce it, and he also knows exactly what loophole in the rule there may possibly be to get through. Kenny, I know you have to hear me every day on the way home. You do hear my bedtime lectures. Now, most of that has to do with just the character type stuff. Okay, but I know how much you like certain positions. Okay, whether they know it or not, for some reason, at least last year, you wanted nothing more than to play second base. You absolutely, for some reason, love second base. And I will say, you can stop a grounder just as well as any single kid on this team. You get in front of it, you shuffle your feet, you are great on the ground balls. Okay? But second base is the very last position you will ever play in your life as a lefty. Because you will never, ever be able to turn a double play as a lefty, ever. As a shortstop, sometimes you can turn one. As a second baseman, you never. So, you've kind of gotten over the shock of not ever being able to play second base. Okay? You like first base, but I think the coach has done well in keeping you in the outfield. And part of it is because I think ultimately you have the best instincts on how to catch a fly ball. You get under the ball better than anybody else on the team. And you have an extremely sure glove out in the outfield. And as much as you may not like the outfield now, when you're a 12-year-older or a 14-year-older, every ball goes out to the outfield, and kids are going to wish that they didn't play second base and they played center field or left field, because that's where the balls are going to go. So ultimately, I think you are going to be an incredible outfielder along with pitcher, because you certainly can do that. Okay, you've shown the ability. So, and last year you were the closer. So you come in with 3 balls on a kid, and nobody out, and get out of the inning with bases loaded and nobody scored. So you obviously have the ability. So I think you have a bright future.
Well, I just kind of would listen to Mike, because having his son there, same thing with Holden and with all 3 of us. So you're kind of, you're trying to figure out, because this first year I coached with Kenny, so, and didn't really know what his capabilities were, but as he's put it, as the season went along, that's where his big he could really excel at was in the outfield. Because I did a lot of outfield hitting to the outfielders, so I could see the improvements and the ones that just kind of got it. Learned how to turn back on a fly ball, come up on a fly ball. Plus, he's very quick anyway when he gets started, and he most of the time was shagging, as we call it, shagging fly balls. I mean, getting him down. So that was his best part, and I'm glad he ended up there, and I think that's where you'll really excel at. Outside of the pitching, as he learns to pitch, same as the rest of us, that because he threw some excellent games, sometimes he'd come on there and they couldn't touch him. And then the other ones, you just didn't have the experience. I think it was the same day with Scott. He had kind of the same day kind of thing, just couldn't get the ball over, but that's going to happen. But I think he keeps working on it, and being a left-handed pitcher, same way, he's got automatic movement on it and actual different speeds. So I think he can excel at either one, but it was a pleasure coaching.
Let me say one more thing. Yeah. Okay. Kenny also has the ability, because he's been barked at from me so long, that he has the ability to not get rattled by somebody barking at him. Or sometimes he would tune me out or go, ugh. So you don't know it, but part of why I constantly was telling you where to go in the outfield, partly because I knew where the outfielders needed to be, because of if Braden's on the mound, they're going to be slightly behind the ball. So the ball is going to go that way, or if somebody else is on the mound, they're going to be ahead of the ball. And I knew where you needed to go, but part of it was, as soon as I said that, you moved, and you were instantly in ready position. So that was partly my way of focusing you on every time. So once you were in ready position, you jumped in the direction that you needed to jump. So, and at the beginning of the year, from the end of the year, your concentration on just when the pitch was about to be done and you took your prep step was much, much better.
Compare tan line. Both wear those low socks. See that?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. All right, that's a good life. This is what we call a good life, Kenny. Right there. That's when you know you've got a good life, okay? With the tan line. Kenny, everything that they've said is true. Actually, you might be a first baseman. But we had one in Tyler, and you were valuable in the outfield, and that's why you played more outfield than you did first base. You're right. You're limited. Your future is limited because well, limited and unlimited. But certain positions that lefties just don't play at higher levels. So you likely are going to be a center fielder. A pitcher, a first baseman, or an outfielder. When you get to high school baseball, when you guys get to high school baseball, there's only one shortstop on that baseball team, but there's 3 outfielders. And usually the better players were playing the infield when they were younger, right? And so all of a sudden, I can't tell you how many kids I've coached, and they said, "Coach, thank you for giving me some exposure to the outfield when I was 10, 12 years old." I didn't like it at the time. I wanted to play shortstop. I thought I was the best shortstop, but I'm glad you put me in the outfield. I go, why is that? Because I'm playing now at wherever, and we got a shortstop that's all world, and I'd be on the bench if I was only a shortstop. But now I'm playing the outfield, and I'm able to play the outfield, and I'm a really good outfield, and I'm really valuable, and like Mike said, a lot of balls come out there in the outfield at high school. So Kenny, I don't know where you'll wind up playing, but you will wind up playing, and you'll be playing very, very well. You're going to be a really good pitcher. That ball, you've got a lot of velocity, the ball moves naturally, you develop a changeup, and you've left-handed hold runners on, you're going to be a great pitcher. Sorry again that we didn't have enough time to work with you more this year in that regard. Your dad and I were just talking about your hitting. Your hitting is perfect, except you got to get the bat through the zone. You hit the ball so hard, foul down the left field line so many times, and it was just because the bat head is lagging behind a little bit. I talked to your dad about that a little earlier, and we're going to fix that. And when you get that bat head through the hitting zone, those hard line drives are not going to be foul over the third base dugout. They're going to be to the right center field gap. and they're going to be triples for you. But you did a great job, both as a starting pitcher, relief pitcher, in any way that we asked you to pitch. I wish we could have pitched you more, but because of your excellence in pitching, you got the Mounds Award. So that does it for the awards. Before you do that, for the individual awards, I wanted, Julie, hear me out for 3 minutes. Boys, listen. Sit down for a second. Braden, listen.